Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
Oh, you pressed the wrong button. Oh, residual.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblum, Chris Bergen, and Pat Daniel. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on sportstalksc.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil, Chris, and Pat with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk Media Network, and hope you survived the weekend and the holiday. Hope you had a great holiday weekend, but now it's time to get back to just being yourself. You were very, very nice last week going into the weekend. We know for most of you it was just a ruse. Now it's time to get back to being yourself, which is snarly, nasty, unhappy with everything in the sports world, okay? Because that's what we're here for. We're here to soothe those problems for you, except I think tonight we're going to pile on a bunch more problems. Bowl practices at USC Clemson continuing with people missing at both locales, basketball games being canceled left and right, bowl games being canceled left and right. I don't know. I've got Mr. COVID, Chris Bergen, standing by to explain it all to us. I don't know if it's because of the policies in place are out of date and they're forcing these things to happen when perhaps they could be avoided, or it's all coming back on top of us once again with another major wave of the COVID. You know, people are catching this most recent version of it left and right. But, you know, is it because of that, or is it because of the old policies that Frank Martin actually pointed out very early in this process? And I think he might be dead on. The old policies don't work in the vaccinated world that we live in, or shouldn't work. They should be updated policies. And we're seeing where leagues now are changing their policies to try to ease the penalties or ease the quarantine situations for those who do test positive. So it's a long, drawn-out story from all of that. The bottom line is that we've got bowl games being canceled, or teams being put out of bowl games, and bowl games scrambling to find replacements, and some bowl games being canceled. And basketball, the Clemson-Duke game's been canceled. The South Carolina State game's been canceled. The next College of Charleston game's been canceled, and on it goes. So we got all of that, plus coverage from the two football camps. I was up in Charlotte yesterday morning when the Gamecocks last met with the media. We'll let you hear from Shane Beamer and a player or two. And then here in Orlando, that's where we are now. We're here in Orlando, and we caught up with the Clemson people today after their practice. E.J. Williams, one of the Tigers' starting receivers, was not at practice this afternoon. Nobody really seems to know why, but he wasn't there. Of course, he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury. And we did not talk to Dabo Swinney today. Dabo Swinney will talk in the morning along with Matt Campbell from Iowa State, the final media session before the game is played here on Wednesday. And from Clemson today, we did talk to Will Shipley and Tyler Davis. And, of course, yesterday morning, the coordinators for the two programs and a couple of players met with the media. So we got all that to choose from. Plus, Zach Willis is back, the coach. 1st and 10 with Zach. He's going to break down that funky defense that Iowa State will play against Clemson, a 3-3-5 look. And also more on that Iowa State offense and, of course, the North Carolina offense, which is so dynamic, and the North Carolina defense, which is so porous. Can the Gamecocks score 30-some-odd points in this game on Thursday? It may take that against a very good North Carolina quarterback led by Sam Howell and a very good North Carolina offense that can score points in bunches. So we got all of that for you. Pat Daniels back at our studio in Columbia. Chris Bergen is back from holiday, and he's at his studio in the PD. And our phone number, 888-898-2525. Of course, that's the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. Mr. Bergen, hope you had a great holiday, got some rest. You're going to be very busy coming up. I know you've been busy following all the COVID activity today.
And it's good to be back, Phil. And Merry Christmas. Hope all of our listeners had a wonderful, wonderful holiday weekend. That includes you and Pat as well with your travels and Pat hanging around in the Midlands. You have a relatively low threshold, though, with regards to the character of our listeners, though, don't you? Assuming that everybody is snarly.
I just
to coin a phrase.
I look at people like they really are, and I know that going into the holiday, and I'm the same way. Going into the holiday, we all get soft and we all love one another and try to help one another and do what we can for one another. And then, of course, as soon as the holiday is over, we're back to being ourselves. I know I am. I'm back to being myself.
Absolutely. Well, we wouldn't have it any other way, Santa Corn. And also did want to, and Pat pointed this out as well, did want to mention just a slight change in your wording. The Duke Clemson game and the South Carolina State men's basketball games have been postponed, not directly canceled. The Duke Clemson game, I would think at some point.
I don't know how they're going to work that back into their schedule. Now that they're hitting the bulk of their ACC schedule, they're playing 2 games a week. How are you going to work in the third game?
Well, it's a great question, and you're probably going to have to. My guess is Duke and Clemson will have to be played at some point in time. South Carolina State, South Carolina will not be played, I don't think. And that's a shame for SC State because that's a great opportunity for them to showcase their program on a little bit bigger stage. And it brings back the question I asked during the week in which South Carolina and Clemson played during COVID. Why was that game not postponed? I just do not understand how you have conference games now postponed, big marquee interstate rivalry games. I'm not alluding to USC and SC State, but Louisville, Kentucky postponed. We've this today alone, Duke at Clemson, Florida State at Boston College, Virginia Tech at North Carolina, all of them postponed. Why in the world did South Carolina and Clemson try and play in a scenario that to me cannot be any worse than those 3 other basketball games I mentioned, other than the fact that they are non-conference games, as opposed to the ACC having to figure out a way to work in conference games. It just makes zero sense to me how we're treating this. And Frank Martin was spot on when he said we are no better off, even though we have the vaccine, with regards to protocols than we were a year ago at this time. And it just strikes me as odd that a game as big as Clemson and South Carolina to our state is and was, and I joked about it, but I still think it's true, was treated like a Saturday morning rec game at the YMCA, yet South Carolina and South Carolina State get postponed? Phil, makes no sense to me. Somebody please explain to me the reason behind, if South Carolina had that many people out, and we found out they did because they didn't play, going into the Clemson game, why not postpone that game and play it later? I never understood the thinking behind this. And now as we start to ramp up COVID, and I think part of the problem we're seeing now is these players, especially basketball, who went home for Christmas, now are coming back. And again, we're starting to get positive tests. Are they unvaccinated players? Are they showing symptoms as vaccinated players? None of this do we get to find out and know. So we're left to speculate what the heck is going on. And now we have bowl games. And you want to talk about a travesty and a mess. That is exactly what the college bowl season has turned into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, left and right, teams are dropping out. The Sun Bowl's been looking to find a replacement for a team to play Washington State. And let's see, we've had the Fenway Bowl was canceled for a second straight year. They've yet to play that game, I don't think, since they created it. I don't think they've played it yet. The Pinstripe Bowl was also canceled. Virginia had to cancel out of that. And the Hawaii Bowl was canceled. And there was another one. Oh, the Arizona Bowl was they lost a team, but I think they have picked up
Boise
a team
State
to replace Boise State. Yeah, of course, Boise State, you weren't here last week, but the folks, the newspapers in Boise, maybe this is poetic justice. The newspapers, the editorial boards at newspapers in Idaho were very critical of Boise State for playing in that game because of its connection to and its ownership, I guess, of Barstool Sports.
Right.
They didn't think that a state university should be involved with that organization. Be that as it may, I think they found a replacement in Central Michigan, did they not?
if the MAC allows them out of whatever scenario they're in, I think Central Michigan is going to predict. At least that's what I saw this afternoon. But Barstool Sports has brought a lot of this on itself. And you're right. I saw some of the scathing commentary that the folks out in Idaho had with Boise State playing. And if I'm not mistaken as well, Phil, this is the only bowl game that is being streamed, not on network television or not on, like ESPN or CBS or anything. They don't even have a TV partner. It is being streamed.
Correct.
So it would be fairly easy for that game to just go away.
Well, they didn't want a TV partner. They wanted you, the viewer, to have to go through their app or their website, I guess, to watch the game. So, it's just another way to lure people to Barstool Sports. I mean, marketing standpoint, hey, more power to you. You're trying to bring in more people to your media outlet. But yeah, it's not going to be an ESPN or a major network broadcast for that. So, okay, now we got all that and more to cover. Our phone number is 888-898-2525. That's the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. And if you have comments coming off the weekend, thoughts about what's happened today, and looking ahead to the ball games Wednesday and Thursday, we've got our poll question up, which is, how's it going to turn out for the two teams? What do you think? 888-898-2525. Did you know that since 2002, more than $572 million in lottery proceeds have been used to fund Palmetto Fellow scholarships for the state's college-bound students? Learn more about the South Carolina Education Lottery's impact at scheducationlottery.com/education wins, and playing for fun is a win for education. All right, we'll go to the break. We'll come back and catch you up on the day's activities here in Orlando and in Charlotte. And you know what's interesting, too? The way things are, the world's upside down. Ordinarily, I'd be here in Orlando, and I'd be talking about 80 degrees here, how beautiful it is, and how you people are freezing back in South Carolina. But, heck, you're just as warm as we are.
Not true.
I think it was, mid-70s in the beautiful Palmetto State today. So we will hit the break, and we'll come back. If you want to join us, we have a line or two open for you right now. Back in a moment.
Founders is offering a low-rate mortgage with up to $4,000 in closing costs to full-time hospital employees, honoring your frontline efforts against COVID-19. With no PMI, no origination fee, and no limit on the loan amount, you can't go wrong. Visit founders.com/HEC and apply for your hospital employee choice mortgage today. Membership qualification required. Terms and conditions apply. Institution NMLS identifier number 410646. Founders is an equal housing lender and is federally insured by the NCUA.
I'm not like some whoop-de-doo executive chef. I consider myself more of a baker than a chef. I like working with my hands. I like turning regular ingredients into like something spectacular.
The South Carolina Education Lottery has funded over 450,000 life scholarships in our state, giving countless students a chance to answer their calling, just like Aaron. Your passion is our purpose.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
As is usual the case, we got a lot of news notes to go over today, and we'll be doing that here as we move on through the early moments of the program. And then we'll hear from some of the folks at South Carolina, some of the folks at Clemson. There was no media involvement today with South Carolina. The Gamecocks did practice this morning in Charlotte, and then they went out to Charlotte Motor Speedway and they participated in the Richard Petty driving experience. In fact, there was video of Shane Beamer getting into a car and taking some laps. It's funny. And Chris, I think you and I may have been around NASCAR maybe a little bit more than Shane Beamer. I'm not 100% sure, but it's funny.
I feel fairly
and I've
confident.
done this before. Yeah, I've done this before. I don't know if you've taken the laps around Darlington. I've taken the laps around Darlington in the experience in a race car at speed. And I mean, your look, your face, your facial expression going into the car is one thing, and your facial expression coming out of the car is another thing. Because until you experience going around one of those tracks, and they went around Charlotte and we went around Darlington at speed, at 145, 150 miles per hour at Darlington and right up against the wall, or in Charlotte, they may have topped out at about 160, 165. You're not used to it. And I mean, your facial expression is totally different getting out of the car. It's like, oh, wow, that's unbelievable. How do these guys do it for 500 miles?
Well, and I had the opportunity a couple of years ago, Phil, and you were actually at this media availability with Bubba Wallace, and he took us around in his show car. And that was fascinating to kind of, if you could, even with all the G-force. And he wasn't up to speed that he was when he ran the Southern 500, but still being up as close to the wall as those guys get and trying to turn to your left and look at the driver was fascinating, because Bubba's sitting there driving down the road, one hand on his steering wheel, the other sort of tapping his thigh as if he's listening to music in the car. And I was petrified. Yeah. I'm trying to hold on to anything, and there's nothing to hold on to in there. There, you can maybe grab the dashboard, but that's about it. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And you're right. It's something that average fans, even NASCAR fans, as diehard as they are, don't get I don't think a full appreciation of just how difficult that is until you get into a car or get behind the wheel. And that Richard Petty driving experience is a really, really neat thing. I'm sure the guys really love that up in Charlotte today.
Mm-hmm. Well, the time I did it, I guess it was back in the 90s, was with David Pearson as the driver. And if you remember David Pearson, one thing he used to do as a driver, especially at Darlington, because it was 500 miles, he had a stick of gum, one for every 100 miles. And, we got in his car. He had a stick of gum taped to the dashboard. And I remember, of course, the driver's suit is so tight and the helmet's so heavy. And I remember sliding through the passenger side window, and they strap you in. Of course, you had to sign your life away. They weren't going to be responsible if you died on the ride. And I just looked at David. Of course, the car was running, so you really couldn't have a conversation. He didn't know me from anybody, and had this big old helmet on. I just looked at him. I said, give me everything you got. And he dropped that thing into gear, and my head snapped back against the seat, and we were off. And I mean, I just remember coming off pit road, which is flat, and hitting, which would be turn one, and all of a sudden you're almost upside down. And I'm like, whoa. I was looking, I'm like, and then he got it up to speed, and he comes up on the wall, and I'm like, oh my gosh, he's going to hit the wall. And of course, he made a successful turn. I'm like, how do these guys do it? Especially if you know Darlington, you got the sun beating right into your face as you go down the backstretch. How do these guys do it in the late afternoon, staring into that sun with the wall coming at you? Anyway, they had a great time there. Shane Beamer seemed to have a great time. Players seemed to have a great time. As far as some news coming out of there, reading what reporters put out today after they got a chance to see the first few periods at Charlotte Christian School. And it's been reported that DB coach Torian Gray, receivers coach Justin Stepp were absent in the portion that was open to the media members. No one has clarified why they were not there. Analyst Ahmad Smith coached the DBs in place of Gray. And let's see, running back Marshawn Lloyd was not a full participant today during the media viewing session. He worked through agility drills with the strength and conditioning staff, did not have shoulder pads on like the rest of the team. Edge lineman Jordan Strawn was not spotted at practice, and don't know what the deal is with him, if he's opting out, if he's got COVID. Now, one thing that Beamer told us yesterday was that, and here's where there's a little bit of confusion. He said there was one player who did not make the trip, John Darius Morgan, because he's got a very sick grandmother. I think they're unfortunately expecting her to pass away here soon. So he didn't join. He didn't come with the team. And then he said there were others who are suspended. and they are players who are not major contributors, he said. And at one point, he referred to 3. So we're not sure. I tried to get clarity, but I couldn't get clarity. Not sure if the 3 include Morgan or if it's Morgan and 3 who are suspended. I've seen one story had 2 suspensions in Morgan. Then I've seen one where it's Morgan and 3 suspensions. Anyway, apparently the suspended players weren't major contributors during the regular season. Don't know if Strawn is part of that or somebody else. Nolan and Gauthier were the only healthy signal callers taking snaps today. Doty was there in a walking boot. Other Gamecocks who did not participate, Dylan Wanham, safety Jalen Dickerson, defensive back Joey Hunter. Dickerson walking around with a boot, unclear if he'll play in the bowl game. Jaheim Bell wore a blue jersey during practice, and reserve defensive lineman Will Rogers, Devontae Davis were in yellow non-contact. That's from Ben Portnoy from the state, who was there to watch it. So,
Phil, about
we'll have to
Jaheim
see.
Bell,
I don't know what's up with these coaches unless they're in some kind of COVID protocol kind of deal. Unless they showed up later on after the media were gone.
Well, that's the problem with only allowing the media and the only outlet you have to get information out, only there for a couple of moments early in the practice. How much did Marshawn Lloyd, once the practice was closed, how much did he legitimately get in? And were the coaches back? Were they out doing they can't be recruiting, right? So they wouldn't be away for that reason. And do you know the color distinctions? Do you know the color distinctions at South Carolina, why Jaheim Bell would be in a blue jersey, not a yellow? Does that mean he's still able to be hit, just maybe not tackled to the ground? What is a blue jersey?
Usually they put the quarterbacks in the blue. If my memory's right, they put the quarterbacks in the blue, meaning you're practicing, but you can't be hit. If my memory's right, I think I've seen them in the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yellow usually means injured, not participating in the regular practice.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that means you're on the sideline. The blue, green, sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's green. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't recall the distinction at this point. See if I can find that out for you. As far as Clemson is concerned, I was out there watching the Tigers. They practiced over at Boone High School, so they opened up the first the stretch period and some special team stuff. I can tell you that Potter is a really good field goal kicker, and he probably would do well for Clemson kicking field goals. And Spires is a really good punter. He do well kicking punts for Clemson. I'm being facetious here in that that's all we got to see was them kick field goals and punt and them stretch a little bit. And they did a quick little bit of quick work where they threw a pass starting at about midfield. They threw a pass and then rushed the field goal team onto the field to kick a field goal like this in the dying seconds of a game or the half or something like that. But then E.J. Williams was not at today's practice. He remains if he remains out and cannot play, of course, that's going to hurt the Clemson receiving core already without Justin Ross. Again, Sweeney will meet with the media tomorrow, so I guess we'll find out something on that then. Ngata was in practice today, going through drills, and watched Uyangalele run around a little bit. He still has the big brace on his knee and a sleeve on his leg. I guess it's a sleeve. But he was out there practicing, running around. In the part that we saw, he seemed to be moving around okay. So that's it from Clemson's standpoint, as far as we can tell you, from being out there and watching the guys go through those opening drills. Let's see if there's anything else to tell you here very quickly. Our poll question of the week, and we'll get to phone calls after the bottom of the hour break, so stay tuned. Those of you holding on, 888-898-2525 is our number. And our poll question of the week has to do with how the games are going to turn out. USC's 9-point underdog to North Carolina. Clemson a 1-point favorite, but this is straight up. And so far, out of 288 votes, 53.5% are picking Clemson to win and USC to lose. Make that 18.4% have USC winning and Clemson losing. 14.2% see both winning. 13.9% see both losing. I think I'm in the category, this is just straight up, not worried about the points. I'm in the category of Clemson wins, USC loses.
I think that's fair. I think that's probably the way I would lean. Now the 9 points That's a lot against the Gamecock defense. But again, with can the offense move it enough to keep North Carolina off the field? And Phil, with all the changes in the coaching staff for Clemson, they're going to be a new look team. It'll be really interesting to watch them play under new leadership in both coordinators' roles.
Absolutely. There's going to be some fascinating side stories to watch both in Charlotte and here in Orlando. Okay, we'll take your phone calls. Dial us up. We'll be back after the break.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Won't cool down much this evening with the low dipping to just 61. Tomorrow, even warmer than today with a mix of sun and clouds and a high topping out at 77. No rain until a slight chance on Wednesday. Much better opportunity for showers on Thursday. High temps all week in the mid-70s. Much cooler next week. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
I've been a huge believer in Shooter's Choice for years. They've been here for almost 30 years. Their staff knows their stuff. It's not like some big box store where the guy helping you today worked in the shoe department last week. The staff at Shooter's Choice actually shoots. They hunt. They have experience and knowledge. They can answer your questions. Shooter's Choice is well stocked. They can get you the stuff you can't find anywhere else. So online at shooterschoicesc.com or visit in person. 944 Sunset Boulevard. Make it your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
With SRN News, I'm Jason Walker. President Biden has signed the National Defense Authorization Act into law, sending $768 billion for military spending in 2022. The NDAA authorizes a 5% increase in military spending over last year and is the product of often intense negotiations between Democrats and Republicans over a number of key issues. A U.S. Navy warship remains in port at Gitmo Naval Station, Guantanamo Bay in Cuba, with about 24 sailors testing positive for COVID. The USS Milwaukee forced to pause its deployment late last week because of the outbreak. And more flight cancellations as COVID leaving airlines short of workers since Friday. 4,000 flights have been canceled. This is SRN News.
Fever. This is Fran Halloran. Tune into my show, The Intentional Living Power Hour, on Thursday mornings from 9 to 10 for simple and practical financial coaching on The Point, 100.7 FM, 1470 AM, Columbia's local talk radio experience.
Now, who could that be?
It's Dominion Energy. I signed us up for a home energy checkup. It's time we learn how to save energy and money.
Well, how much does it cost?
Not a dime. It's free, and it only takes about an hour. Plus, we get a report on things we can do to make our home more energy efficient.
I don't know. Sounds too good to be true.
No. See for yourself at DominionEnergySC.com.
Where?
DominionEnergySC.com.
Certain restrictions apply.
Is that crack in your windshield or your house bothering you?
Have you been meaning to have it replaced but just can't find the time?
Call Absolute Glass, voted Lexington's best glass shop for 12 years in a row.
We repair and replace glass on all makes and models.
We're the only local high-end auto glass specialist in the Midlands, and we'll come to you to make the process quick and easy.
With new technologies and vehicles, we can recalibrate your vehicle back to new.
Visit AbsoluteGlassInc.com to learn more about our auto, home, and business glass services. Just remember, if you can see through it, we can do it.
Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdheck.gov/vaxfax.
Hi, this is Taylor Metz.
And this is Roger Metz, your host of Woods and Water, South Carolina.
The time around Christmas and New Year's is one of our favorites to get outside together. No schedule, no stress, just go see what's out there.
Crisp mornings and cold nights will make you catch your breath, but there are lots of companies that make clothes for that, so there's no excuse for staying inside.
We hope you'll take some time this holiday season to get out there and discover the outdoors and take someone with you to share the adventure.
We invite you to listen to Woods and Water, South Carolina in 2022 as we bring the outdoors to you every Saturday afternoon.
Right here on our home in the Midlands, 100.7 The Point.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year.
Have you fallen behind on your taxes and might be facing IRS penalties? Have wage garnishments, levies, or liens? Have unfiled tax returns? You want someone local and qualified. Don't fall for those national spots. Meet with me, Teresa, at Capital City Professional Services, and let me help you through your tax maze. I can help with all your tax resolution issues. There are options to get you back on track. Call Capital City Professional Services, 400-8683. That's 400-8683.
Where do you take your pooch when it's time to head out of town? Well, it wasn't long ago we were afraid to leave Adrian anywhere. Then we found a Paws Paradise. Now when we need a vacation, we give Adrian one too at a Paws Paradise. All we say is, Adrian, want to go to camp? She goes bonkers with excitement. It's a great environment for your pooch. They do doggy daycare every day, or they can keep your pooch when you go away for that long weekend or a full vacation. Learn more at apawsparadise.com or call them at 551-0323.
We are back on Sports Talk here on this Monday from Orlando, Columbia, and the PD. Glad you're with us wherever you are around South Carolina. And our phone number, 888-898-2525. One more note from David Hood on the situation with the missing Clemson players. He wrote that not only was Williams out, cornerback Nate Wiggins, he noticed out as well. And he wrote that he'd heard Wiggins tested positive, and Williams, who's the roommate, was in protocol. And Clemson spokesman told him both were unavailable today. And, of course, all questions should be addressed to Dabo Swinney at the press conference tomorrow. So that seems to be the case. It makes sense. You got a lot of that stuff going on. And, Pat, did you have something else you wanted to add?
Yeah, and Corn, you being in Florida, you may or may not have even been aware of this today. So this question's for you, Chris. Did you feel anything a little abnormal today at your home around 2:15 or so?
I did not. I saw a tweet about a potential earthquake in the Midlands today.
Yeah, we had a 2.7 or 2.8, so relatively small earthquake, but it was still funny. I was sitting at my desk trying to get some work done, and the whole house kind of shook, and the dog started barking. I wasn't quite sure if I'd imagined it or not, but yeah, Corn, some news here across South Carolina today was it was located in Elgin, or a couple of miles, I think, east of Elgin, but not too far from downtown Columbia. So that was a little bit of excitement a couple of days after Christmas.
I bet it was. All right, let's go to, well, that was up like in the Kershaw, Lancaster area. You sure it wasn't Tiger Bryan burping after a big meal or something? Welcome in, Tiger Bryan. Good to have you with us here on Sports Talk tonight.
No, I've been eating too much, man. You know how the holiday is. Hey, I like my beverages. I can't hardly have my beverages. I mean, but y'all talking about that earthquake? We were at my mother-in-law's across town from Lancaster, and people were calling me down the road. Y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Tiger.
Yeah, we
Bryan.
got you,
We're
pal.
with you.
Okay, I didn't know. Hey, we was at mother-in-law's across town, and neighbors was calling. Did something out on your house? I was like, man, I'm not at my house. But, I heard it was around. I had a little shaker. But, hey, y'all talking about that NASCAR thing? I'm going to tell you what. Did y'all ride with somebody, or did you drive actually a race car?
I rode with Bubba Wallace when he did it over here in Darlington, Tiger Bryan. So, no, I didn't actually get behind the wheel and drive it. That'll be the next thing on my bucket list. And Phil said
Yeah, I rode with David Pearson back in the day.
Hey, my wife, my 40th birthday, 18 years ago, she gave me I'm a big NASCAR fan like Clemson, but hey, she gave me at Charlotte Speedway the damn $600 ticket thing to go up there and drive it. This guy, he followed a car like a pilot car, right? Yeah, they tell you where to let up, where to put gas on. You got to follow them. And hey, man, he went up. First, they take you around in a van. They tell you, he's looking, they're talking about 8 or 10 of us. And he ain't even looking at the road. I mean, I'm like, man, I'm over in the passenger seat. I'm like, damn, my wife's trying to collect the insurance money on me. Right. But we were third fastest out of 30 cars, 30 people that day. Yeah, 167 miles an hour. Hey, but you're right. Every time I watch a race, I thought, man, no wonder they make the money they do. Because I'm gonna tell you what, I couldn't do
it. You get a whole new appreciation. That's what Beamer said when he got out of the car. Little video clip that they put out. You get a whole new appreciation what those race car drivers go through after you actually get in a car and go around a track at speed. You'll never forget it.
Oh man, it's awesome. And what got me, that's when they had that new device with the helmet. You turn your head about an inch or two each way, and that's it. You know, I mean, you buckle down like Johnny on the spot now. I mean, I was thinking the whole time, man, if I crash this thing, I know I'm going to be in debt the rest of my life, but I hope I survive. But
I understand,
thing,
TB. I understand.
Hey, another thing I want to say, y'all talking about Clemson. I think Clemson and Carolina, straight up, I think both of them going to win. Because you know why?
Do you?
I ain't worried about my Tigers. But South Carolina, you know what? Them guys has played for Shane Beamer this year. All the different things they had to go through, quarterbacking and this, that, and other. You know what I mean? New first-year coach. He's done a dang good job. So, I say a lot from Tiger Bryan now.
That is. Hey, listen, thank you for the phone call. Glad you're with us. Talk to you once again.
You too, pal.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, look, I mean, there's no question that the South Carolina players who have stuck with the program are buying into what Shane Beamer is selling. And he had those guys playing hard, even in defeat. They played hard. They never really quit. And, this bowl game is an opportunity for them to finish the season on a positive note, and for the younger guys to further show the fans what they are installing there from a culture standpoint, and what they're building will carry over into the 22 season, when certainly help is on the way. As you already know, help is on the way in the quarterback room, and help is on the way in some other areas from recruiting. And they're not done with recruiting yet, and they're not done looking into the transfer portal, John, to try and find some immediate help. Yesterday, after the morning practice in Charlotte, their first practice in Charlotte, Beamer met with everybody to talk about that first practice, talk about some personnel on the team, talk about the COVID issues and how they're handling all that. So here is some of what he had to say to the media yesterday afternoon. It was a little bit afternoon in Charlotte. Here's Shane Beamer.
We will have our normal in-season testing protocol, just like we've done for all games, which means that we will be the guys that normally get tested, the unvaccinated players, will get tested 2 days before the game. So what is that, Tuesday, which in season, that's normally on Wednesday, 3 days before the game. We're doing it 2 days before the game. I believe North Carolina's following the same protocols. So we'll have a handful of guys. Most of our players are vaccinated. We've got a handful of guys that will get tested on 2 days before the game. But, we're following protocols here in Charlotte that their city has in place, and being as smart as we can around each other and in the hospital. Masked in meetings and masked indoors like the city of Charlotte requires us to be.
Just how meaningful would being able to kind of finish the drill, get a bowl win, sort of be for a program in year one with you and kind of for this older group?
Yeah, it would be huge. One, to be able to send these guys out the right way. These super seniors that I'm so appreciative for, would be awesome to send those guys out the right way. To get a seventh win, to do it here in Charlotte, to do it against a great opponent like North Carolina. I mean, we've talked to our players all month that, this is my, 18th bowl game as a coach, 23 if you count my time in college as a player. And the bowl games that I've been successful in are the bowls where the team is most excited to be at the bowl. And from what I've seen, our guys are really, really excited to be here. And why wouldn't you be with everything that is in front of us and everything that we've been through, and the fact that this university hasn't been to a bowl game since 2018. There's a lot to be excited about.
I guess how much of a challenge is Sam Howell for this defense, especially with a guy like JJ?
A huge challenge. I knew what a great player he was, but I didn't realize what a talented just runner he is. I mean, I think he's 7th in the ACC in rushing right now, yards per game. And that's, you take the sacks out of it, because I think he's been sacked quite a few times. That if you take that out of it, and he's up there probably 1 or 2 in the conference, probably in rushing. And it's not flukes. He's breaking tackles and people are bouncing off of him. I got so much respect for him. He's such a tough competitor. He's a winner. He's a big challenge, running and throwing. He was on our campus a little bit in June. At one of our 7-on-7 camps, he had a friend that was participating in the 7-on-7 camp and came down and spent the afternoon in Columbia with us and had a chance to visit with him. And great young man. And I've got a ton of respect for him, as a player. They do a great job with him, and he's a great player.
This last part of his career, especially considering he comes here, joins this program right as things kind of get funky, has to wait a little bit, gets injured, and now gets to kind of close out in his hometown.
Yeah, I'm excited for him. Came back and has put a lot into it and been a great leader for us. And the chance to come back here to this area and play his last game in North Carolina, I know is exciting for him. And I got a ton of respect for him, just the way he practices and he's just steady and comes to work every single day.
How are you guys feeling about the quarterback position with Jason gone? Obviously, you've now had some more practices with the guys you have left. What's kind of the situation there? How's that kind of working?
It's adventurous right now. With Jason gone, obviously Zeb's been back there. Colton, we have high hopes for. Jake Helfrich is a walk-on from here in Charlotte that is a good player that is obviously getting a lot of work as well. And we got a lot of guys on our team that were high school quarterbacks. So we've particularly with COVID and challenges of that right now. I mean, you hate to, but you always got to think about worst case scenario. And, you want to make sure you got enough quarterbacks to play the game. So I'm not going to say we've had open tryouts, but I mean, you've certainly, you've kind of got a break glass in case of emergency type thing as well. But we got high hopes for those guys. Zeb's a veteran, savvy guy that obviously has done a great job all year. And I'm excited about seeing him going out in his final chapter, of his career and then this season at Carolina.
Quarterbacks, I guess this is the first time we've gotten to talk to you since Tanner Bailey signed. How did that process work, and what do you think he can add to the quarterback?
Yeah, Tanner's one that when I first got here, we liked early on, and then we were just obviously I got hired, and then our offensive staff got put together and compared to his relationship with Oregon at the time because of Joe Moorhead, who was recruiting him at Mississippi State. He was a little bit farther along in that relationship with Oregon. And quarterback recruiting, it's like dominoes. Once you see one commit, it's kind of like the ball gets rolling, the next guy. And Tanner went ahead and jumped on that offer at Oregon, and we certainly understood that. And I didn't have any conversations with him until literally, I think, the night we sent him scholarship papers, to be honest with you. Once everything happened at Oregon, he reached back out, and I was just looking at it from a depth standpoint. My job is to always increase the depth and the competition at every single position. And being able to bring Spencer in, Luke and Colton coming back, Braden, and then now Tanner. Tanner's a great athlete, winner, good football player, great baseball player, multiple sport guy that we're excited about. And competition makes everyone better. And that's what I saw as an opportunity to do that as well. Particularly not that we're worried about Luke next year, but, Luke, I think will be probably limited in spring practice and then Colton's still young, and it is still scary in a lot of ways because you got, next year, you're looking at Spencer, Luke, and then a whole bunch of freshmen, and just really just trying to constantly improve the depth at every position.
You mentioned Colton a couple of times. How much progress has he made from the quarterback who first stepped on campus months ago?
Yeah, a lot. He's still in all the quarterback meetings with Coach Satt and all the quarterbacks. So mentally, he's made a lot of progress. I mean, being able to just communicate things and then the throws he's made, he's gotten better. On Sunday nights before I talk to you guys in that teleconference during the season, we keep the young guys out there, and he's like a madman during that because we only have 10 minutes of work. So as soon as practice ends, I mean, he's screaming and yelling at receivers to get out there because he's trying to get as many reps and throws in 10 minutes as he can. So he's a competitor and he's a winner, and I'm excited about his future here at Carolina as well.
Coach Satterfield said during his press conference last week, he called himself like the most hated offensive coordinator in the country. Where'd that come from? Did it surprise you when you heard that come from him?
I don't think he used the word hated. I think nobody thinks that I'm worth a dang or crap or something like that or whatnot. No, I mean, look, you guys, y'all aren't oblivious to stuff. I mean, people hear noise and things like that as well. And I took it as a great thing. It's two guys that have a chip on their shoulder. I don't care where you're the offensive coordinator. People don't think you're very good. I mean, Sean McVay's or Sean Payton and all these guys in the NFL, they're great offensive coaches, but one bad game, they need to give up play calling and hire an offensive coordinator or this year it was, they were on Lincoln Riley offensively. I mean, everybody thinks they can call plays. So every offensive coordinator in the country is certainly has a chip on their shoulder because you're only as good as your last game. So I didn't take that in any wrong way at all. I took that as sat, and all of us obviously aren't pleased with everything that we did offensively as a whole this year. We all know that we have to be better in all phases, and I have a chip on my shoulder. I mean, I'm excited to be here, but I'm not happy about being 6-6. So we all have a chip on our shoulder to get better. Offense, defense, special teams, all of us.
All right, Shane Beamer, and there'll be more coming from Shane Beamer on, gotta get my days right, on Wednesday. But there's no more in-person media with those teams in North Carolina. What they're going to do on Wednesday will be done over Zoom. So, and that'll be at like 10 o'clock in the morning. We'll have that covered for you. Smitty will be handling the Gamecocks moving forward, so he'll have that covered for you on Wednesday morning when you have the final media session with Shane Beamer and Mac Brown. And yeah, I wanted to kick myself, Chris. I mislabeled. I used the wrong word in my question about Satterfield when I should have said, his actual quote was, as Beamer pointed out, it was more like the chip on the shoulder, and we're not. He was talking about Rattler and Spencer Rattler, not liked, and he wasn't liked by people, et cetera, et cetera. So, but he got the gist of the question. And I hate to be the one that keeps asking the question, but it keeps coming up about Satterfield's future at South Carolina by some, not by Beamer, but by some. And again, he always seems to give answers that support Satterfield, not something that would lead you to believe he's thinking about any kind of a change there.
Well, his quote was, "Everybody in the country thinks I stink." But I mean, hated, stink. Yeah. It's all the same. We're mincing words here and playing semantics a little bit. But yeah, no, I think it's a fair question, much like the constant questioning that Grayson McCall got towards the tail end of the season until he actually publicly addressed and said, "I am coming back because I bleed teal." Not exactly his word, but you get the gist. I bleed teal, and I will be back at Coastal Carolina. Once he said that, all those questions stopped. Same thing here, Phil, as you've reported on this program, that his job may not be safe. And until Shane Beamer comes out and says, yes, Marcus Satterfield will be the offensive coordinator at USC next season, he's going to still get those questions, and I'm not sure they're unwarranted.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely something that's being talked about by Gamecock fans around the water cooler, on the message boards, on the talk shows, and everything else. So it has to be addressed. But we'll see what happens probably as soon as, they play on Thursday. By later that day, that night, or by Friday, I would think if anything's going to happen, it would happen pretty quickly. There's no reason to delay anything. All right, we'll hit a break, and we'll be back.
COVID-19 booster shots are now available for all South Carolinians 16 and older. Increase your protection from COVID-19 by getting your booster shot. Learn more at scdhec.gov/COVID-19 booster. Keep fighting the spread. Wear your face mask. Stay 6 feet apart. And get vaccinated. Join us and fight the spread. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxfax.
Hey folks, mortgage rates have dipped to their lowest levels in recent history, and with home values up in many areas, now may be the perfect time to refinance your home. Whether you're looking to lower your monthly payments, free up cash for home improvements, or just pay off your home faster, a quick call to the one and only Stuart Wingo of Ameris Bank could save you money. If you're looking for competitive rates and exceptional service, call Stuart Wingo. 803-319-1777. That's 803-319-1777. You will save money just like I have so many times over the years. You can also visit him, amerisbank.com/Stuart Wingo. Stuart Wingo, the man with the plan for all your mortgage needs.
Hi, I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and I've got a great gift idea that requires zero shopping.
the gift of college savings. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan makes it easy. Grandparents, friends, and family can all contribute to a Future Scholar account and know that they're providing a gift that will last a lifetime. If you're looking for the perfect gift this holiday season, look no further. Learn more about the smart, easy way to save and give this holiday season at futurescholar.com.
Let's give you the recruiting report on this Monday after the holiday. It's our holiday gift to you, the gift that keeps on giving, and that's recruiting. And, of course, it's brought to you by the great folks at Seawells. Pat, I think they're back open for business now. No. Wait a minute. Are they open or are they closed through January 1st? You had the calendar.
Right, yeah, as we made sure to tell folks a couple of times last week, and we'll remain doing that this week, Seawells will be closed for the holidays. They reopen on Tuesday, January the 4th. So a nice little extended vacation for the Seawells family, but they will be back and open to the public on Tuesday, January the 4th.
Well, they deserve it. They need a break from all the people like us. But when they do return to service, make sure you get out and enjoy the daily luncheon buffet Monday through Friday from 11 to 2. And, of course, for the very best in the catering business. Hopefully we can continue to have parties and gatherings. I don't know, with this Omicron thing creeping back up on everybody. Maybe we can, maybe we can't. But at some point we will. You'll need the best in the catering business. And that is Seawells at 1125 Rosewood Drive. And their phone number is 803-771-7385. So recruiting notes for you. Clemson over the weekend offered defensive tackle Christian Miller, 6'4", 285, out of Ellenwood, Georgia. This is in the 22 class. USC had offered him Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Southern Cal, Oklahoma, Florida State, Nebraska, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech. He has taken officials to Southern Cal and Ohio State, and he plans to visit Miami, Oregon, and one more in January. He originally was going to announce January 8th at an all-star game, but he'll now wait until the February 2nd signing date. This season, he had 60 tackles with 8 sacks and 25 tackles for loss. Cornerback Miles Oliver, 6'1", 170 of Douglasville, Georgia, has set an official visit to Clemson for January 14th. He has an offer from Charleston Southern. Clemson has not yet offered him, but Mike Reed has taken a liking to him. He's a multi-position player. He can play safety. He can play corner. He can play some offensive spots. And he is scheduled to visit Charleston Southern the weekend after his Clemson visit. Now, keep in mind, again, Clemson has not yet offered, but perhaps Mike Reed and Dabo Swinney are thinking of doing so when he comes in for his visit. This season, he had 75 tackles, 5 interceptions, and 4 interceptions. USC transfer wide receiver target Jacob Cowing continues to reel in the offers. Louisville, Florida, and Texas Tech, 3 most recent for him. Over the weekend, 2023 defensive end Peter Woods, 6'4", 250 of Thompson, Alabama, named the top 6. Clemson, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Florida, and Oregon. He made 2 visits to Clemson in October for games. Over the summer, he made unofficial visits to Alabama, Auburn, LSU, Florida, and UCF. Also over the weekend, Clemson made the top 7 with 2023 offensive tackle Peyton Kirkland of Orlando. The others are Ohio State, Oklahoma, Michigan, Penn State, Georgia, and Miami. Also, Clemson offered 2023 receiver Christian Hamilton, 6 feet 170 of Harrisburg, North Carolina. 2023 tight end Mac Markway of St. Louis, the cousin of former USC tight end Kyle Markway. He decommitted from Florida late last week. He was offered by the Muschamp staff at USC. USC offered 2024 safety Brayshawn Williams of Lakeland, Florida. There you go with the recruiting notes for tonight. We remind you to check out our recruiting regularly on our website, sportstalksc.com, and on Twitter, use the hashtag #STRecruiting. Don't forget,
really stupid
you can always
recruiting
find our
question.
show. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you about the kid from Orlando that Clemson offered over the weekend. If they got him a ticket to the Cheez-It Bowl, first off, could they do that? And secondly, if they bought it for him, would that count as an official visit?
Well, first of all, they can't buy it for him. That's still a no-no. I think that's a rule that's still in place. He can go buy his own ticket and go as a fan, but I do not believe they can provide you with any kind of a ticket. He could come out and watch practice. I don't know if he's been out to see them practice, but that's something he can do since he lives in the area. All right, top of the hour break, and we'll be back.
By the way, before we do what's supposed to happen here, thank you for pushing the button. I thank you. Programming thanks you. America thanks you.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Flight cancellations that disrupted holiday travel stretched into Monday, with major U.S. airlines each canceling dozens of flights, although some were due to bad weather.
Staffers calling out sick due to COVID-19 have left airlines short in recent days. According to FlightAware, which tracks flight cancellations, airlines have canceled roughly 4,000 flights to, from, or inside the U.S. since Friday. Delta, United, JetBlue, and American have all said that the Omicron variant was causing staffing problems. United said it canceled 115 flights today out of more than 4,000 scheduled due to crews out with COVID-19. I'm Shelley Adler.
With less than a year to go until the 2022 midterms, Republicans are increasingly optimistic on the prospect of a red wave that could flip both chambers of Congress and end Democrats' unified control in Washington.
Heading into 2022, Democrats find themselves on their back foot, defending their narrow House and Senate majorities and President Biden against a fusillade of attacks over stubbornly high coronavirus cases, inflation, the bloody Afghanistan withdrawal, and more. The House is viewed by many on both sides of the aisle as likely to fall into Republican hands, given the Democrats raised a thin 5-seat majority there. Democrats say that the Senate is a toss-up instead of the House, which likely leans Republican. However, despite a favorable map for Democrats, the party's 50-50 majority in that chamber could be toppled too. Bernie Bennett reporting.
Blowing snow in mountains of Northern California and Nevada closed key highways over the weekend, while an Arctic blast brought frigid temperatures to the Pacific Northwest. And unusually warm weather settled over parts of Texas and the Southeast. Officials on Monday say a Donner Pass record in the Sierra Nevada has been broken for the snowiest December record, previously set in 1970. On Wall Street, the Dow up by 351 points. More at townhall.com.
Tell me why Relief Factor is so successful in lowering or eliminating pain. I'm often asked that question. Pete and Seth Talbot, the father and son founders of Relief Factor, tell me they believe our bodies were designed to heal. The doctors who formulated Relief Factor selected the 4 best ingredients, 100% drug-free ingredients that each help your body deal with inflammation. Order the 3-week quick start now. Discounted to only $19.95 to see if it will work for you too. Call 800-500-8384. ReliefFactor.com.
Cultural Marxism is spreading like wildfire in America. But did you know that this so-called woke ideology is also flooding into the church?
Reparations fits into the scope of the gospel.
Watch the documentary How the Left is Stealing Your Church and discover how the ideology behind critical race theory and the LGBT agenda is being smuggled into the evangelical world. Stream it now for $9.99 or get the DVD for $12.99. Go to salemnow.com or look for the Salem Now app.
A court in Russia has increased the prison sentence of the prominent historian Yuri Dmitriev, who had been working on exposing horrors from the Soviet Union's era.
This case has dragged on for 5 years. Last year, he was sentenced to 13 years in prison, having been convicted of sexually abusing his adopted daughter. Charges, he insists, were fabricated. Today, that was extended to 15 years. A court found him guilty of taking indecent images of a child and illegal possession of parts of a firearm. Mr. Dmitriev's supporters are convinced the case is politically motivated, that the historian and human rights activist has been punished for shining a light on one of the darkest chapters of Soviet history, the Great Terror of Joseph Stalin.
That is BBC correspondent Steve Rosenberg reporting from Moscow. News and analysis at townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Won't cool down much this evening with the low dipping to just 61. Tomorrow, even warmer than today with a mix of sun and clouds and a high topping out at 77. No rain until a slight chance on Wednesday. Much better opportunity for showers on Thursday. High temps all week in the mid-70s. Much cooler next week. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather. WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. Ooh, I like when you press that one.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil, Chris, and Pat with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network here on this Monday, first show after the Christmas holiday weekend. Hope you had a wonderful weekend with your family, your friends. You ate a lot and you chilled out a lot. We certainly did. I know Mr. Bergen did. I know Mr. Daniel did, but we're all back together now and ready to get at it with these bowl games. I do have to say one quick thing, and if I can hop on a point of contention that our good friend Kevin Cohen at our affiliate in Columbia, our flagship station, the Point Radio, has made for years and years and years, because he's a native of Florida, has made many, many trips at all different times of the year from South Carolina down to Florida. And, of course, the preferred route is I-95. Going down yesterday after leaving Charlotte and then driving down, it is absolutely preposterous what we in South Carolina and our visitors from other states have to put up with during the holidays on I-95. And I just wish somebody could explain to me, and Kev Cohen has made this argument for years, and he does a much better job at it than I do, why the entire stretch of I-95 in South Carolina, except for a portion of about 7 miles or so in Florence County, otherwise the entire stretch is a 2-lane road going south, a 2-lane road going north. And I mean, the volume of traffic is incredible on the day after Christmas heading south. And I-95, I-26 as a result, were both parking lots. And I got off of 26 and I cut down 301 and got over to 321, ended up in Hardeeville, where I moved like a snail through Hardeeville to get on to I-95 at that ramp. And then as soon as you hit Georgia, 3 lanes, 3 beautiful, well-constructed, pothole-free lanes. And everybody spreads out, gets on the gas. Like you said, Chris, it's like being on a drag strip out there. I get that. But everybody's ready to step on the gas after crawling through the state of South Carolina. Not to mention the pavement on I-95 is in terrible shape in much of that area along the low country. Terrible shape. And, of course, then you speed into Florida, and beautiful highways in Florida, and you get to Orlando. They've done some massive construction of highways and bridges and flyovers. It's just beautiful. Why does our state suck when it comes to the interstate system? Don't we get the same money everybody else does? I ask you, Mr. Bergen. You live in Florence County, doggone it.
And we've got the few 6 lanes of interstate that exist on 95, as you pointed out. And the irony there, it's about the only stretch of Interstate 95, as wide as it is, from the interchange with I-20 going north until you get on the other side of the Darlington exit, that it's 60 miles an hour. So explain that to me.
Mm-hmm.
But the federal interstate money, you would think, would funnel into South Carolina the same way it does everywhere else. But, of course, the ultimate problem is we've got the government trying to deal with stuff, Phil, and there's your answer.
Yeah. Well, and we all know who used to reign supreme. He's passed away now, but we know who used to reign supreme in Florence County, and he used to reign supreme in our legislature. But I mean, for the good of South Carolina, it should. Of course, it's easy for me to say I'm not the one, having to come up with the money, but they can come up with the money. They come up with the money for everything else they need. Spend the money and widen I-95 the entire length of South Carolina. I mean, I know it'll cost billions, but so what? Get it done. It needs to be done. It's awful, awful. Anyway, that's enough of that. I told you I was getting back to my old mood coming off a happy holiday, as I'm sure anybody who tried to navigate down I-95 South would feel the same way. It was terrible, terrible on Sunday. All right, phone number 888-898-2525, South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number. Few other notes, and we're going to hear from Will Shipley. Yesterday, USC center Eric Douglas said he is going to return next season. So that's another veteran at South Carolina who's coming back. Sherrod Green had also made the same announcement the end of last week, or maybe it was over the weekend, that Sherrod Green said he was coming back. He's been at South Carolina since 2017, Sherrod Green. Wow. Unfortunately, he's been beat up a lot. He's had a lot of injuries. Like this year, he got hurt in the Georgia game. He was done for the season, and I think in 2020, he missed most of the season with an injury. A story by Adam Rittenberg of ESPN. Virginia is targeting former USC running backs coach, former Furman player, and current Atlanta Falcons running backs coach Des Kitchings for the offensive coordinator's job at Virginia under Tony Elliott. So we'll see how that works out. Newest odds on potential national championship game pairings from Bet Online. So if Georgia plays Alabama, Alabama will be a 1.5 favorite. If it's Michigan and Alabama, Alabama's a 6-point favorite. If it's Cincinnati and Georgia, Georgia's a 13.5-point favorite. If it's Cincinnati and Michigan, Michigan is a 7-point favorite. Virginia edge rusher Noah Taylor transferring to North Carolina. The Panthers and Saints game on Sunday been pushed back to a 4:25 kickoff.
Why?
And of course, because of the Saints. Matt Rule said he talked with David Tepper this morning. Says he's still supportive, showing him nothing but confidence about him and the future with the team. So he's getting the pat on the back there, but the team is really playing poorly. ACC announced today, besides Duke at Clemson, other postponed games from this coming Wednesday. Florida State at Boston College and Virginia Tech at North Carolina. BC, Duke, and Virginia Tech, the ones that are dealing with the COVID issues. And let's see, what else? The College of Charleston Drexel game on the 29th in Charleston, that's been postponed because of COVID with Drexel. And Matt Rule said this afternoon he sent everyone home. After more positive COVID tests this morning. He said a significant number of tests turned up positive there with the Panthers, according to Matt Rule. You want to say something, Chris?
Actually, I have one more basketball game. Evidently, Wednesday is National Do Not Play Your Basketball Game because of COVID, because the Citadel and Mercer now having problems. They've gone into quarantine deals with regards to the Mercer program. So Wednesday's game between the Citadel and Mercer postponed as well due to positive COVID tests within the Mercer program. And that's a shame because that would have been a really entertaining ball game to watch between those two teams. But again, I think Wednesday is turning into National Do Not Play Your Basketball Game Day.
Yeah, it certainly sounds
I don't mean to make light of it,
other
but
thing we're seeing,
it's gotten ridiculous.
Yeah. The other thing we're seeing, too, is the leagues now are rewriting their rules. No longer is the forfeit in play if you can't play a game. Now let's try and postpone and reschedule instead of having that heavy-handed approach to it when they told everybody, if you can't play a game, you can't play a conference game, you're going to have to forfeit. No more. It's a no contest, and they try and reschedule.
Yeah, I think that's all they could do, Phil. And I never quite understood why the leagues were going to come out. And you didn't even believe when they said that they would hold to that stance, because what league commissioner wants to look at? If you legitimately have problems with the coronavirus within your basketball program and cannot field a team, even if all of those guys, and here's the problem that they never addressed, it's the same thing Frank Martin's been talking about. if they have all been vaccinated, you can still get the virus. And if you test positive, how are you going to criticize a team and tell them, well, you didn't go through the protocols, you didn't do what we? No, wait a minute. You told us we had to get our teams vaccinated. We did. We still got the virus because somebody got sick, and so we had to start testing the team. They could not be that heavy-handed, and it's fairly obvious and easy to understand why the NFL did, because they started seeing games late in the season that would affect the playoffs, and there was no way they were going to have those games turned into forfeits and the like. They had to play those games.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. A little while ago, after we had okay, I'll tell you what, before we get to Will Shipley, we have a call. Ernest in Georgetown, so I don't want to deprive Ernest his chance at becoming a statewide radio media star. In fact, I had the pleasure, and I know you have a place in Georgetown, Chris. I had the pleasure of going to Georgetown and spending the afternoon there the other day, and hitting the shops and eating at the restaurants outdoors back there at Winyaw Bay. Oh, yeah, fantastic. Anyway, Ernest, great to have you with us tonight on Sports Talk. How are you?
Doing fine. How are you guys doing?
We're great, buddy.
We're doing great. Great to. What part of Georgetown do you live in?
I'm on the northwest side, the Browns Ferry community.
Nice. Okay. Well, it's great to have you with us. What's on your mind?
I wanted to comment on what you were saying about I-95.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
We were. I know you wanted to move on from that, but wow, you hit that one out the park. Because we went to Orlando, and when we crossed the border, it was like day and night.
Yeah.
Then in October we went to Raleigh in October, and it was, there's construction everywhere. Why in South Carolina? Where's the money going?
That's a great point. I was going to follow up with the same thing. Where is our money going?
And you know, and one thing about it, the cars, like my wife's car, the cars are so nice you can't even tell how bad the road is. But these roads are tearing up people's cars.
It's a joke. I mean, you're right, Ernest.
Yeah.
It's an absolute joke. I was so frustrated. Of course, I kind of knew, having lived around here long enough and having made this trip numerous times this time of the year, I had a feeling that it was going to be a problem. And sure enough, when I got off of 77, I should have kept going straight, taking 321 all the way through the state and just stayed that way. But I said, no, get on 26. And as soon as you merged, even right at the meshing point where the 3 lanes in Columbia go to 2, it backed up. And I crawled along until about the north exit and got off there and went to Orangeburg, hopped on 301, should have stayed on 301 all the way into Georgia, but got on 321 and then so far down as far as I could go and then cut over. I'll say this. I wasn't the only one. When I got to Hardyville, where 321 spills into Hardyville, about a little half-mile ride through the street, the one street of Hardyville to get on that ramp at 95, it took a half hour to get through Hardyville.
Okay.
That's how much traffic was backed up trying to get on the ramp at 95. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah,
Crazy. Well, thank you for calling in and doing your public service there.
All right, just keep go Clemson.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. First time we've had a highway call on the show, as far as I can recall.
Phil, you've
All
missed
right.
your calling.
Thank you, Ernest.
News talk and political talk was right up your alley. Maybe that's a second career. Maybe you could do podcasts via Corn.
Well,
How
you
bad
know what?
interstate
Maybe when
commerce is.
maybe in about 30 years, when I hit 80, I'll transform into a news talk political guy. But for the immediate future, we're going to stick to sports, something we think we might know a little bit more about. I mean, I can complain with the best of them, right? That's all we're doing is complaining about our state legislature not taking care of our state. That's all we're doing. That's pretty obvious. We're not the only ones who do that. But, they can't take care of the business of the state when it's that obvious. And like Ernest said, you go into North Carolina, what are they doing? You go into Georgia, what have they done? And South Carolina sandwiched right in the middle, and it's an eyesore. It's an embarrassment. And, I'm sure it causes people to say, I wouldn't live in this state with this kind of transportation system, you know. Anyway, let's go to Will Shipley. He is a Tar Heel who's come into South Carolina up at Clemson and made a big name for himself. He was one of the players brought to us after practice over at Boone High School here in downtown Orlando. And here he is talking with the media after the practice. And let's see, we picked this up with him talking about just how the practice went and how he's feeling about things on the offensive side. You feel like you guys accomplished everything in preparation for this game offensively?
Oh yeah, I think we overaccomplished. We got done what we needed to get done. Kind of just gaining some momentum going into the game. Now it kind of turns to getting mentally ready for it. I think we're very physically prepared. So you just got to get mentally prepared now.
How do you feel your freshman year now and your last practice of your freshman year? It goes by fast. How do you feel physically and mentally at this point?
Yeah, no, it definitely goes by fast. I feel like I could look back yesterday and I think the one thing that sticks out is, getting injured against NC State, just how quick the season goes by. But it's been a great freshman season. I'm just trying to end it out strong, send these seniors off with a bang. But mentally, I'm as young as I've ever been. I just think there's so much ahead, so much I want to learn. Want to get so much better, and physically, definitely gonna take some time after the season. It took a toll on me. Just one more game, get it done with. Kind of get ready for spring ball, and then just back at it next season.
Everybody's going to be watching, wondering, a Clemson team that's used to being in the playoffs. How interested are you guys going to be in this game on Wednesday? How hungry are you going to be?
Yeah, I think we'll be as hungry as if we were in the playoffs. To be a great competitor doesn't matter, kind of what's up against you. It's how you attack everything that is in front of you. So whether we'd be playing Georgia or Alabama to playing Iowa State in the Cheez-It Bowl, we came with the same mindset, prepared the same way, and just looking at it the same way as we would.
How much fun is it preparing for that 3-3-5, 3-5-3, 3-5-3 stack, whatever you want to call it, defense?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. We've kind of had our fits with some three-man fronts this year. To kind of get that extra week or two to prepare for it has been great. Coach Streeter coming in, he's coming with a great plan. Offensively, we've got a great plan. Just ready to go out there and make it happen.
What's been the most enjoyable part of your first bowl experience so far?
I would just say kind of going somewhere else and practicing. It's just a different vibe. Not being in school has been great as well. But just being down here in Florida, the great weather, just getting to spend time with the guys outside of football. Something we don't really get to do too much of in Clemson because it's the same thing. So just kind of getting out of your comfortable environment and creating better chemistry with the guys.
With as many wide receivers as are on the sideline for Clemson, do you expect to maybe have a bigger role in the receiving game in this bowl game?
Yeah, I think that could definitely be in the future. It'll be interesting to kind of see how it unfolds. But 100% trust Coach Streeter to call the plays, and whatever he calls, I'm going to try to execute to the best of my ability and just put points on the board.
You notice any difference in Streeter now that he is the man running the offense?
Yeah, he's come in with just a new energy. To see how he's come in and just created tempo, created momentum. Just a player's coach. Everything that he does is just getting us riled up, ready to go. So I'm really excited for this game, and excited for the seasons to come as well.
You expect more tempo offensively in this game?
Yeah, I think that could definitely be something that we'll see. Like I said, I think we'll just kind of see how the game unfolds, see where it goes. But tempo is never a bad thing. Just never a bad thing. Get the defense tired. Holes get bigger. Wide receivers get more open. So yeah, it'd be a good thing.
How important do you feel like this game is for the offense, just generally, just because you guys did build some momentum at the end of the regular season? How important is it to carry that over, I guess, in this game and into the offseason?
Yeah, I don't think the momentum ever really stopped, to be honest. We're feeling as good as we felt in the whole season. As confident as we've been through all the games we've played. So we're just ready to go out there and make it happen. And continue to build off that momentum to carry into next season. Into the off season, into next season, and just into the future.
What was Coach Streeter's message when he did take over to you guys?
Really, just the same thing. We're gonna do what we've been doing, but with kind of Coach Streeter putting in his values and what he believes. Switching up a couple things here and there, But it was really just tempo. Tempo. We're going to create new energy. We're just going to build off of one another, create great chemistry, and just want to go out there and fight for the person beside you.
How would you compare his coaching style, Coach Elliott, and the way he approached practice and games?
I would say that it's a little more get at you, communicate, get things going. Coach Elliott was really laid back in his approach, and he was great. But the way Coach Streeter's come in and really just communicated with us, and I think it's kicked in with everybody. And this past 2 weeks of practice have been probably some of our best weeks of practice this whole season. Since I've been a part of Clemson, so I'm excited. It's going to be a ton of fun.
Is he more vocal than Coach Elliott was?
I wouldn't say more vocal, just vocal in a different type of way. It may come off as more vocal, because he may be, saying a little bit more, or coming at you in, maybe a little bit of a higher tone. But I wouldn't say too much more vocal, just perfect vocal.
All right, there you go. One thing I took from that, or two things that he kind of hinted at, more involvement in the receiving game for him. And maybe this is related to E.J. Williams possibly being out. He kind of hinted at being a bigger part of the receiving game. And then tempo. It sounds to me like Brandon Streeter wants to come out, force the tempo, play at a faster tempo. We'll see how that works out for them on Wednesday. Hit a break here on Sports Talk. We'll be back in just a moment.
Touchstone Energy cooperative members save more on electricity, and members save more on insurance, groceries, healthcare, restaurants, travel, concerts, and sporting events through Co-op Connections. Touchstone Energy is an alliance of the member-owned electric cooperatives, and as a member, the power is yours. Experience the power of co-op membership with Touchstone Energy and find out how much you can save on electricity and a whole lot more at touchstoneenergy.com.
Parents ask, what's the best way to save for college? I'm State Treasurer Curtis Loftus, and my answer is always open a Future Scholar 529 college savings account. It's easy. You can get started online with any amount. It's flexible to adapt to your child's college dreams. And you can deduct 100% of your contributions from the South Carolina state tax return. So what are you waiting for? Go to futurescholar.com and see why it's the smart, easy way to save for college. futurescholar.com.
Save like a pro with Founders Federal Credit Union. Founders Loyalty Select account gives you the opportunity to grow your savings at our best rate yet. Fund your account through your favorite Loyalty Select product to get savings today. Not a member yet? Visit relaxjoinfounders.com or one of our more than 30 office locations to see if you qualify for membership. Services require credit evaluation. Terms and conditions apply. Founders Federal Credit Union is federally insured by NCUA.
What do you think about that, Chris? The idea that Will Shipley could be more involved in the passing game in terms of a receiver, and also the idea that with now Brandon Streeter running the ship on the offensive side and calling the plays, you might see Clemson go more tempo, faster pace, get up to the line of scrimmage more quickly and get the snap off.
I don't think that's a bad notion, either one of those, especially getting Shipley involved in the passing game. I think he's a talented young man. Get him the football any way possible, whether you hand it to him, pitch it to him, or throw it to him. Now, the only problem about running up-tempo is you've got to make sure you get some first downs. And DJ is going to have to complete some passes for that to occur. Now, has he progressed? You would hope, since the end of the football season when they turned sort of more towards the ground game. Heck, if they're knocking off 6-7 yards a clip on a first down, then maybe that won't be a problem. But you don't normally envision a hurry-up offense based solely out of the run game. So they're going to have to get the passing game involved. And maybe the easiest thing to do to settle DJ into that ball game is throw it out of the backfield. I think Will Shipley is a star in the making. You know, listening to him talk, he sounds just like if you closed your eyes and envisioned Kyle Larson of NASCAR fame talking, those two are voice twins. I was thinking we were listening to Kyle Larson break down the Clemson offense because they sound almost identical. But I think Shipley's going to have a big game. And speaking of running backs, Phil, with Clemson being right around a 1 or 2 point favorite for this ball game, are they an underdog if Breece Hall is playing for Iowa State?
Good question. Good question. I know Iowa State, they like the guy that is going to be replacing him, the guy who will be the starting running back for them, Jirel Brock is going to be the starting running back. But he didn't get, Hall is one of those guys like the running back from Missouri who got all the work, all the carries. It was the same way pretty much at Iowa State. Purdy and Hall and a couple of those receivers and the tight end, they kind of dominate on the offense, which is, I guess, what you're looking for when you have some great players like that. So you might be right. That's an excellent question. If Hall had not opted out, would Iowa State be the favorite? I think Vegas has got this one pretty much nailed. I think it's going to be a tight ball game. Hit a break, and we'll find out more about that from Zach coming up.
Weather is made possible by our friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union on 107 The Point.
And here's tonight's forecast. Won't cool down much this evening with the low dipping to just 61. Tomorrow, even warmer than today with a mix of sun and clouds and a high topping out at 77. No rain until a slight chance on Wednesday. Much better opportunity for showers on Thursday. High temps all week in the mid-70s. Much cooler next week. I'm Brian Leonard with your On Point local weather.
There's plenty of people out there who want to purchase a handgun, but they have no idea where or how to start. Visit the experts over at Shooter's Choice, and here's why. You'll get one-on-one attention from their team. See, they'll ask you all the right questions to help you find exactly what you want and what you need. The staff has real-life experience carrying and using handguns, so let the team at Shooter's Choice help you to find the perfect fit for your next handgun. At 944 Sunset Boulevard, make it your first choice, your best choice. Make it Shooter's Choice.
With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters reporting. U.S. health officials are cutting isolation restrictions for asymptomatic Americans who test positive for the coronavirus and shortening the time that close contacts have to quarantine. People with the virus can leave isolation after 5 days, down from 10 days. People exposed to the virus can also leave quarantine after 5 days. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced the changes Monday. CDC officials said the guidance is in keeping with growing evidence that the coronavirus is most infectious in the 2 days before and 3 days after symptom onset. The decision also was influenced by a recent surge in COVID-19 cases driven by the Omicron variant. On Wall Street, the Dow by 351 points. The Nasdaq rose 217. The S&P advanced 65. This is SRN News.
Are you looking for free checking and free savings? Dave Ramsey here, telling you to go see my friends at Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union. They're not a mega bank that's so big they lose the ability to treat you like a human being. At Palmetto Citizens, you're not just a number, you're a member. Join today at any of their 14 locations or at palmettocitizens.org. Federally insured by the NCUA.
Hey, it's Jay from the Melting Pot. One of the greatest gifts you can give your loved ones, family members, and best friends this holiday season is your time. And unlike other restaurants, you're not considered a table turn. We celebrate your time with us and each other when you come in and break bread together. We recognize a meal together these days is not just a photo op, but a real-life memory. We love to brag about our food, but we also love to brag about the memories you allow us to be part of. Thanks for starting your new memories this year with us at the Melting Pot, 1410 Colonial Life Boulevard.
Hi, this is Taylor Metz.
And this is Roger Metz, your host of Woods and Water, South Carolina.
The time around Christmas and New Year's is one of our favorites to get outside together. No schedule, no stress, just go see what's out there.
Crisp mornings and cold nights will make you catch your breath, but there are lots of companies that make clothes for that, so there's no excuse for staying inside.
We hope you'll take some time this holiday season to get out there and discover the outdoors and take someone with you to share the adventure.
We invite you to listen to Woods and Water, South Carolina in 2022 as we bring the outdoors to you every Saturday afternoon.
Right here on our home in the Midlands, 100.7 The Point.
Merry Christmas.
And Happy New Year.
Hey, Tiger fans, 2022 Clemson baseball season tickets are currently on sale. Coach Monty Lee and your Clemson Tiger baseball team open the season on February 18th, and you can be there for every game by purchasing your season tickets. Home series include matchups against Miami, Florida State, NC State, Georgia Tech, as well as our annual home games against South Carolina and Georgia and many more. So log on to ClemsonTigers.com to purchase your Clemson baseball tickets and come back home to Clemson.
If you're like me, you're sick and tired of seeing these old TV stars, game show hosts, these athletes telling you how to save money on your Medicare and on your health insurance. These national toll-free numbers are overwhelming us. It's not that people don't need the service. They need good local customer service, not big box toll-free numbers. See, I work directly with Tim Hanberry right here at Medicare Blueprint in the Midlands. When it comes to my family, I want the best family plan. I'm not even on Medicare, but my mom is. So here's what I do want. Someone local to serve as my advisor on the plans and choices that I have, and someone to help mom with her Medicare. I want someone to help me pick the right plan, save me as much money as possible by knowing all the rules of the game. Medicare Blueprint starts the process with you. They will see it through. They answer all your questions. They call you back. It's the same folks helping you start to finish. Tim and his team are independent. They fight for you, not the insurance company. Online, it's MedicareBlueprint.com or call them 708-7398.
We are back on Sports Talk. It's Monday. It's the Monday of a football week in South Carolina. That means it's time for First and 10. First and 10 with our good friend Zach Willis. Coach, welcome in. I hope you and Sarah and the family had a great Christmas holiday weekend and you're ready to talk about some football.
I think I am. I had a great time this weekend. I hope everybody out there did too.
Well, that's great. I've had a hard time hearing Coach there. I'm assuming he stopped talking, so I'll go ahead and pick it back up.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's on our end, not your end. We have a little bit of a faulty little connection there, but go ahead. I heard you.
Yeah, I had a great time this weekend, Phil, and really excited about these bowl games coming up. They ought to be interesting matchups, I think.
Absolutely. Well, let's begin with the first one on the agenda, Coach, and that's Clemson and Iowa State. And, Clemson, I think they're excited to be here. They certainly give the impression that they are excited to be here, despite not being in a playoff situation. And Iowa State sees this game as a chance for them to prove something, that they are a national level program as well. What do you see in Iowa State? Break it down for us offensively and defensively.
Well, I think the big thing, the thing that I was looking at big time is that when you look at Iowa State and Clemson, Iowa State is a very balanced football team, statistically speaking. But with Breece Hall deciding to sit out, and for those of you who are not familiar with him, he rushed for 1,464 yards for Iowa State this year and played a key role when they upset Oklahoma State, upset Texas at the time, and took Baylor right down to the wire in Oklahoma. I mean, this is a very good football team, but now they're going to be without probably their best offensive weapon. You're going against a team in Clemson defensively that, is number 2 in the country in scoring defense, which is really all that matters. It'll really come down, I think, to whoever replaces the Hall kid that's opted out, how well they can move the ball on Clemson, and then can Clemson score? You're talking about an offense that rated at the end of the year 96 best in the country, which is not what we're used to seeing out of the Tigers. But we also saw Clemson improve as the year went on, and I think their defense is still going to be really, really hard to score on. And I would be shocked if Dabo doesn't have them ready to play. We have not seen that maybe ever, at least in his heyday at Clemson. He's always motivating his kids and just kind of built into their DNA to give their best when they play.
Yeah, absolutely. What about Purdy, the quarterback at Iowa State? He's been there a long time. I don't think there's anything Clemson can throw at him that will catch him off guard. And obviously he has some excellent coaches, offensive coaches around him, starting with his head coach. What do you see in his skills? What's his threat for Clemson?
Well, I just think what you just said, the experience level, and getting to watch film for a month on this Clemson defense. Rip Venables is not going to be there. And one of the things that I've always said, you and I have talked about, when bullets start flying and they're live and you're the coordinator, whoever's moving up to do that, we get somebody that's named to do it, they've got to step up and do a great job here. Venables was a great adjuster. He made great adjustments. He knew how the flow of the game was going to go. He could almost anticipate it. This is one of his best defenses, statistically speaking. And if you look at them, how they play with their backs to the wall against teams like Georgia, holding Georgia to just 3 points, they've got the pieces in place. They should be really healthy. I don't think they had any key opt-outs from what I'm seeing on my research and what I see in the news. That's kind of how you figure this out. He's got to be able to react to Clemson's defense and the changes they throw at him. That is a key matchup. But if they get pressure on him and cause turnovers, it'll really help Clemson's chances, I believe.
Good to have Zach Willis back with us here on Sports Talk for First and 10 tonight going into the bowl games. We'll get into the Gamecocks and Tar Heels in a couple of moments. And Zach, dovetailing off your thoughts about the changeover at offensive and defensive coordinators, in your experience, where do you see that maybe manifest itself the most when you have new coaches coming in? Is it directly in game management and situations in the game? Do you see it during practice? Where is that change going to be felt the most in your mind for Clemson going into this game Wednesday?
Well, I'm more concerned, honestly, about the offense than the defense. And the main reason is leadership. James Skalski and the guys on that defense side. Skalski's a super senior. He's played more football games in a Clemson uniform than anybody in history and has won multiple championships for the conference or national and played in a ton of games that are bigger than this one, to be honest. He can call the defense for him. There's no doubt in my mind he's probably the second best defensive coach right behind Venables there as far as in-game adjustments with things going live. So hopefully he stays healthy. He quarterbacks the game on defense for you. Offensively, there's some concerns because what Tony Elliott struggled with was getting DJ in rhythm and getting him going this year. And it was an up and down deal. He battled with his confidence, his timing. You know, we went through a bevy of things, and just when they got it going at the end of the year, he, of course, gets a job. He had to take the Virginia job. It's a good job, and congratulations to him. It's well-deserved. It's a tough time for Clemson. There's no doubt about that.
So this defense in Iowa State will show against Clemson. 3-3-5, the stack, whatever you want to call it. I guess it has all kind of names. It's one of those kind of exotic defenses that this Coach Heathcote sort of champions and does well with. It's done well, I guess, for them at Iowa State. They're, 10th nationally in total defense, right behind Clemson. What do you think? What do you think about how they line up? What makes this defense so good?
Well, I think, first of all, they're so moldable because you'll see it's 3-3 stack, but then they'll take their personnel just like Clemson does. The one thing that helps both of these offenses is their schemes as far as alignment, pre-snap alignment go are somewhat similar. And personnel, Clemson obviously has got better athletes across the board, but in structure and what they do, there's some similarity there. They're going to try to outnumber you at the point of attack. They're going to attack the pass protection and try to get numbers to a place where you can't pick them up and make the quarterback make fast decisions with small windows to throw the ball in. For Clemson, they need to run the football against a team that's very good. Now they're 10th nationally in total defense and rush defense. This is going to be a heck of a challenge for Clemson if Iowa State comes to play. And I would have no doubt both of these teams are going to be very well prepared. I've coached against Matt Campbell when he was at Akron or Toledo. Toledo and the MAC. They were always extremely well prepared and a very classy group of guys. And he's done an incredible job at Iowa State. I'm shocked he's still there. Probably smart to stay because they love him. But this is going to be a tough one. The quarterback's got to grow up for Clemson. That's probably what it boils down to.
Yeah, and let me get the coordinator's name right. It's John Heacock, not Heathcote. Heacock, yeah. John Heacock. And he's got himself a good defense, and he runs it well.
Yes, he does.
Let's go to South Carolina and North Carolina. I think the question here is, can South Carolina score enough points? I mean, their defense is going to give up some points to North Carolina. They pretty much score on everybody, and they're that good. And South Carolina's down their best pass rusher, and we all know what Sam Howell can do. And we've seen South Carolina's offense. Can they score enough points, and how many points will that take to beat North Carolina? You thinking 30, 35?
Yeah, I think 38. And I could be wrong. The great thing for South Carolina, if there's a silver lining here, is that North Carolina's defense is 101st nationally in scoring defense. They're very bad. Whereas South Carolina defensively is about, I think, 45th, 46th in the country, depending on what you look at in points given up a game. At the end of the day, that's the only stat that matters on defense is how many points you give up. If you look at North Carolina and South Carolina, North Carolina's offense against South Carolina's defense, you're talking about the 9th-ranked unit in the country in North Carolina's offense versus the 116th ranked unit in South Carolina's defense. Now, we know some of that is due to the fact of who South Carolina plays. I mean, you know, and some of it also due to the fact that they had a lot of injuries this year. But South Carolina's got to find a way. Just South Carolina and Clemson both kind of have the same thing. They've got to find a way to move the football and score points. Clemson, by not shooting itself in the foot, and South Carolina by being consistent, I think South Carolina can run the football on North Carolina. But the problem is North Carolina, again, is 11th in the country running the football. And Josh Downs is an excellent back. They've got 2 or 3. Mac Brown is a great recruiter. And they've got Ty Chandler, who Downs is a receiver with 98 catches. You come back and look at Ty Chandler, who really came on big toward the end of the year. And they've got 2 or 3 other backs just as good as him. This is going to be a tough one for South Carolina. But hopefully they come in fired up. Beamer done a good job motivating these kids, getting them to play hard. They've got to keep this thing close, Phil, and the only way they're going to keep it close, I think, is just what you said. They've got to score some points. Hopefully, in special teams, we'll see some of that manifest itself for them.
And, Zach, with that being said, they'll have to find a way to score some points with Zeb Nolan back in at quarterback, with Jason Brown, in my mind, inexplicably missing the game and going into the transfer portal. With Zeb Nolan back under center for USC, how does he get that offense going enough, as you pointed out, to reach nearly 40 points to have a shot to beat North Carolina Thursday?
It's hard for me to comment on that situation without same thing with this kid the Brown kid going in the transfer portal. I guess he's afraid to compete against Spencer Rattler. And, there's nothing more distasteful to me than that kind of attitude with our young people today. If I make somebody mad, I'm sorry, but it needs to be said. This thing is a horrible idea for college football, and it shows a lack of character and guts. And honestly, I liked the kid until he did this. But you want competitors, and here's the thing. We've got a kid playing at South Carolina that was a dang GA when he started there. And I'll tell you what, based on what I've seen, what's gone down in Columbia, and I hate it for the coaches there. I'm sure they were disappointed in it. But, they were trying to build a winner there. Zeb Nolan, I promise you this, that kid will come out and play his guts out for South Carolina. Will it be good enough? I don't know. But I'd rather ride with a kid that's going to be there and come off the bench as a daggum GA and go out and play. That's not easy to do, guys. And I think everybody knows that. And I'll say this, too. I want to say this. I know it's not bowl prep. They had to get Spencer Rattler. Fantastic job. That's as big as Jadeveon Clowney signing, Lattimore signing, Todd Ellis signing, people like that. They went out and got a big-time player. He's had some issues, but, man, how bad do they need this guy? And Shane Beamer delivered, and I don't think we can say that enough. They said he could recruit. The sucker's proven it, and I want to give props to that. Zeb's they got to protect him. He's not mobile. They got to get the ball out of his hand fast and just hope that the defense comes to play and the Tar Heels make a couple of mistakes. They're very beatable, but they've got some great players, and we know Mac Brown's one of the best ever anyway.
Coach, as always, great stuff from you. If it's okay with them playing Wednesday, Thursday, let's get you back on Friday to review everything.
You might have to pay me a little extra, Phil, but I'll be here.
Check is in the mail. Yes, sir. I'll tell you what, we'll send you some Duke's mayonnaise and with some Cheez-Its mixed in. We'll send you a jar of Duke's mayonnaise with – Oh, we can take care of your Seawells. Don't you worry about that, bro. That's done. That's covered.
There you go. I'd rather,
got you.
And you can throw the Duke's mayo in there, but I'll take Cal Seawell's food any day of the week.
There you go. Hey, thank you so much. We'll talk to you Friday.
Okay, guys. Take care.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Thank you. All right, there you go. Zach Willis, 1st and 10 here on Sports Talk. Let's hit the break. I want to get to some of Zeb Nolan's comments from yesterday ahead of Mick Mixon. So we'll get to Zeb. He was one of the Gamecock players who came out and spoke with the media yesterday at the Gamecocks' first practice. Again, there was no media opportunities today for USC except to watch the first couple of periods of practice in the morning. The next media opportunity for the Gamecocks will be on Wednesday with the pregame press conference. So Zeb Nolan coming up after the break, and then Mick Mixon.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. I love sports, and I've helped people for over 30 years. Contact me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com when the insurance company won't pay your claim or you have complicated issues. Some other business causes your business to lose money, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. When you lose a relative and find out you got cut out of a will or don't get what was promised. When you have serious injury, like from a wreck or mishap or on the job, jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
We've got Major Billy Downer with us here from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer, hunting season is upon us. How do we stay safe in a field?
There are 3 rules that every hunter should follow when they're hunting with a firearm. Number 1, treat every firearm due to respect a loaded gun. If you treat your firearm as if it's loaded, you'll always, number 2, keep that muzzle pointed in a safe direction. And number 3, when you decide to pull the trigger, make sure of your target, identify it, and know what's beyond it in case you miss.
And remember, life's better outdoors. Visit dnr.sc.gov for more.
All South Carolinians aged 5 years and older are now eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine. For help finding a vaccine location in your area, visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110. COVID-19 vaccines are free and don't require ID or insurance. Visit scdhec.gov/vaxlocator or call 1-866-365-8110 to find a vaccine location near you.
Life. It has its ups and downs. Sometimes it's little things like hitting every red light or dropping your cell phone. Maybe it's the bills, rent, or pressure at work. But when it comes to the South Carolina Education Lottery, you should never feel like playing will solve everything. The lottery is a game. It's played for fun. So set a dollar amount. Expect not to win and make sure responsibilities, family, friends, and work come first. Visit playresponsiblysc.com.
All right, Zeb Nolan, who'll be the Gamecock starting quarterback on Thursday against North Carolina. Here he is talking with the media after practice yesterday in Charlotte.
COVID being where it is right now, and is it just kind of same old for you guys because you guys have been having to deal with it for a while now, or is it a little different?
No, we've been doing it since, when was that? It was like spring ball, 2 seasons ago. So I'm used to it. Try to wear my mask, do the hand sanitizer deal, and they do a good job of keeping us apart from, the public, the true public, in settings like this and when we play on the road. So it's not too bad.
Are you guys not allowed to do much? I mean, I know obviously you'll have organized stuff, but are you allowed to go out and do stuff on your own?
Yeah, we got free time. I know some guys might be going to the football game here at 1. I'm personally going to try to go watch Tom Brady play. But, they just tell us to wear a mask and be smart. And if you don't feel good, then just stay in your room. So it isn't real strict like it used to be.
Yeah. How would you grade your preparation, not yours, but the entire offense at this point from Columbia to here? What kind of grade would you give the preparation?
I mean, I think I would give it 9.5, 10, just because we worked really, really, really hard those days we had in Columbia. Coach Beamer gave us 2 weeks off to recuperate and do finals and all that. And when we came back, we were all hungry and ready to go just because you got like a debrief. So we hit the ground running, and I think everybody's bought into our game plan. I know we like it as an offense. I know the coaches like it. We just got to go execute it and do our job. I think that's what's been nice is, we're preparing for a team that we've seen play all year. Unlike Eastern Illinois, is like it's hard because you don't know what they're going to do. So we've got a whole season's worth, and they got a season on us. But they'll be just as prepared. But it's been enjoyable to have a game plan and to be able to dive into a team with the same players and the same scheme, same coaches. We all look forward to playing them, and hopefully we execute like we want.
When the offense comes off a game in which you're shut out against a really good defense, but this defense probably doesn't match up to Clemson's. But I mean, how how edgy are you guys to want to just get out there and put some kind of big number on the board?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all are. I want to send. There's seniors and guys that I'm never going to get to play with again. I want to get them touches, get them the ball, and get them in the end zone. Parker White's not very far from breaking the all-time scoring record, and I wish we could have done it in the regular season. I really tried to press the ball down the field at Clemson to get him those points. I mean, at that point, you're trying to do what you can, but I want to send out Parker the right way and get him the all-time leading scorer, and send out the guys the right way.
How much schematically, because you probably have a kind of unique perspective on this, how much schematically has this offense evolved and kind of changed from game one to now?
Yeah, I think that you just figure out your personnel. I think you figure out who can do what. I think the most important part is just communication and detail. I mean, you look at the really good, like if you go to look at the top 10 offenses on ESPN, statistically, they, other than Western Kentucky, they don't have a new OC normally every year. So like I said a minute ago, take the statistics out of it and look at what we've accomplished and how far we've come. We had a lot of penalties right there early in the year, and we made an effort to eliminate those. So that's a win on our part. So you could take wins, losses, touchdowns, turnovers. Like our goal this season as an offense was to continue to get better and to push like I've said all year, just push this place in the right direction. And we've evolved a lot of getting. I mean, there's 3 quarterbacks that played, and look how many guys have scored touchdowns and got the ball in our offense. Guys that you wouldn't even expect. So, I think that's how it's evolved, and we're going to continue to try to push in that direction, for the future.
There you go, Zeb Nolan, who'll be the starting quarterback for the Gamecocks against the Tar Heels. And, of course, we mentioned the Tar Heels. We mentioned Bank of America Stadium. We mentioned Charlotte. It's a good time to talk about those Carolina Panthers.
Here's a handoff to Vaughn, and he cuts left and is in the clear. 40, 35, 30, down the left sideline, 20. Panthers can't bring him into focus, and he will take it into the end zone for a touchdown from 55 yards away.
All right, we're joined by the voice of the Panthers, Mick Mixon. I listened with heavy heart yesterday as you guys were calling the game. It was your last home game. Great job by the folks there to honor you. I know you don't like it to be about you, but it has to be about you because it was your last home game. And I mean, by all means, you're more important than the team right now because they stink and you don't. And very nice of the team to go out on a 6-game losing streak at home for you as well.
Well, let's see, Corn. We're making the forward pass look like it just been invented. We're zigging when we should zag. I'm just glad they didn't boo me when my face came up on the big screen there in bold. Fans are a little unhappy. But I want to talk about you, Corn, because I've had you on my mind a lot, and our talks here are numbered. The season's going to end in a hot minute, but I want you to know I admire you. I've looked up to you for a long time in many ways, and I think it was Aristotle that said, "We are what we consistently do, not what we occasionally achieve." To make those recruiting calls and present this product that's amazingly consistent, it's an inspiration.
Well, I thank you. I never could match you for your depth and your grasp of the English language, but we've been bros a long time. We don't see each other as much as we'd like to, but we go back to the beginning of both of our careers in Columbia, and of course, when you moved over to North Carolina and with the Tar Heel Network, I was always amazed at the great work you did, not only as sitting next to Woody, who was the greatest, but I know you had a lot to do with the beautiful production of the Tar Heel Network. I was always amazed by what you guys did in the background, and I'm sure you've had a lot to do the same with the fantastic production of the stadium show and everything else you guys have done with the Panthers.
Oh, you're very kind, Corn. I appreciate that. Yeah, not as much with the Panthers, but I used to love the production end of it. things. Radio's an amazing medium, magical place, and I love my time in Columbia. It was so much fun. But these Panthers are we got 2 more games left, and I don't know. I can't shake this feeling that I've had that things are going to be okay. I know it's tough right now, but I think you can get better in a hurry if we pick up some O-linemen in the draft, maybe free agency, figure out quarterback. I think the defense is going to be very good next year, especially getting J.C. Horn back.
Yes, and saw a little bit of Shi Smith, another former Gamecock, on Sunday. Made a great play for you. We're going to wish you well tonight in your call-in show, and we're going to carry this out to the end of the season. So we look forward to having you with us next week.
Sounds good, Corn. Appreciate you.
See you, Mick.
Thank you so much. Voice of the Panthers. I wish they'd have sent him off with a home win, but they did not do it. And that'll do it for us. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Chris. Everybody have a great night. See you tomorrow night.
Someone will be right with you.
The Point.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters. Safety regulators are stepping up a series of investigations into engine fires in some older model Hyundai and Kia vehicles.
The National